Yes, hello again, it's Chris here at Classic Dirt Bike TV with yet more vintage classics for you to take a look at from back in the day. And in this next featured video, we're going to take a slight departure from taking a look at our usual two-wheeled solo machines to take a look at this beautiful three-wheeler that I came across at the 2023 Telford Classic Dirt Bike Show. So let's jump straight into that video now and take a look at this Rhind Tutt Wasp RT8 Motocross sidecar outfit. And yes, so as I said, this video here is a short departure from our usual two-wheeled vintage classics to take time out to check out this three-wheeled off-road version. And in this featured clip here, we're going to take a look around this nice Rhind Tutt Wasp 750 sidecar outfit. And actually, if you stick around until the end of this video, we'll also show you some racing footage of these machines in action on the track. Now, contrary to what you might think, we have featured the occasional racing scrambles outfits here on my channel in the past, but as you'd expect, these machines don't appear every single day, but it's still quite good to have a look at one when the chance occurs. And this one here is without doubt an absolute belter. And so this fantastic looking scrambles outfit is another one of the creations from Wasp Motorcycles in Salisbury, Wiltshire here in the UK. And this machine here is currently owned by Mark Rampley. Now, just in case you're not aware, Wasp Motorcycles really all began in the 1960s when its then founder, Rob Rhind Tutt, was actually an aircraft apprentice making aircraft instruments while he was based at Boscombe Down in Wiltshire. And during his spare time, Rob raced a grass track outfit with his then passenger Philip Coles. And basically, the grass track machines that they raced at that time were really just modified road-going motorcycles. Now, as with most of these converted motorcycle chassis, Rob always thought that he could build a much better and custom-made grass track scrambles outfit, which was specifically designed for off-road racing. And I think it was around 1962 when Rob built his own grass track outfit, and when other racers saw the quality and just how well made his machines were, then naturally the orders started to flood in. And it was soon after that Rob set up Wasp Motorcycles, and after more than 60 years of history and more than 5,000 frames already manufactured, Wasp are still producing these kind of outfits and solo frame kits in 2023. Which of course brings us onto our featured Wasp outfit, which is another superbly engineered and designed chassis. And the welding and the design of these Wasp frames is top quality, as you can see in, when you take a look at the workmanship of the machining and the construction of these frames, and you can understand why these chassis are so popular and in high demand across the globe. Now, on the day that I grabbed these video clips and pictures of this machine, unfortunately, I didn't get any details of the bike's construction and the sum of the parts that go together to make up the bike, but there was some quite good information available from the Wasp Motorcycles website. So it's said that the frames are constructed from CSF5 hydraulic grade steel tubing, which is then all bent and shaped on a jig, and then all of the parts are bronze welded before the completed chassis was then bright nickel plated. But as you can see, these chassis are just works of art in their own right, super strong and immaculately constructed. Now, certainly down the years, these RTW outfits have been powered by a variety of engines, and I think in the early days it was the fantastic Norton twin-cylinder motors, which were quite similar to the ones that were fitted on the iconic Norton Commando road bike of its time, and later I think those engines were replaced by the big twin-cylinder Yamaha XS 650s, but other power plants that were used on these Wasp outfits were things like Ducatis, BMWs and various V-twins as well, and of course in our case here different variations of Japanese 4-cylinder motors as well. And so by now you've probably gathered that the chosen engine for this particular chassis is yet another iconic power plant from the late 1960s and early 70s, and this featured Honda 750 4-cylinder power plant is more or less the self-same engine that was fitted to the legendary Honda CB750 road bike, a machine of course that was reputed to be the world's first real superbike from Japan, and also a bike that played a big part in the eventual demise of the big British bikes of their day, like the Triumph Bonneville and the big Nortons, and of course many others, because the big 750 Honda was much better engineered because it was smoother, it was quieter and more powerful, and also had things like electric start and other modern amenities. But the entire CB750 road bike was more or less an all-round better product than the Brit-built bikes, which is why during its 9-year production run it's estimated that over 550,000 CB750 bikes were sold, with of course the early K1 being the most popular. But usually these 750 engines were an inline 4-cylinder overhead cam 5-speed gearbox power plant with a standard wet multi-plate clutch, and each cylinder was fed its fuel through 4 28mm key-in carburetors. So you can probably guess why this engine was actually picked to be used in this Scrambles outfit, because it was reasonably light, powerful and absolutely perfect for this kind of application. Now of course, because this was an engine that was fitted inside a custom made chassis, each individual exhaust pipe had to be handmade and contoured to fit around the Wasp frame, and as you can see, it wasn't just a straightforward process, and certainly a costly and time consuming exercise. And you can see the hours of work that have gone into these pipes alone just to route all 4 onto this left hand side of the chassis. But eventually the pipes all connected onto this big open megaphone tailpipe here at the front of the chassis, and you can only imagine the sound that emanates from this tailpipe when that big 750 4-cylinder Honda engine gets fired into life. But just like all of the other parts fitted onto this 3-wheeler, you can see this machine's not just been thrown together, because the quality and the engineering on this Wasp racer is just top notch. But without doubt, I certainly would have been the first person to ask if we could get this Honda motor fired up if this outfit was on display outdoors. But of course, because this was an indoor show, that was never going to happen. But even without seeing this massive 750 Honda engine perform on the racetrack, you just know that this superb 4-cylinder power plant is going to be very highly competitive against all of its competition. Now again, because this is a three-wheel off-road racer, it's never going to have your conventional front forks, and this is another area that Wasp actually specialise in, making these immaculate leading link front suspension systems to not only fit on these three-wheeled scrambles bikes, but they also build suspension systems for road going and custom motorcycles as well. And it's said that Wasp have already designed and built these leading link systems for over 120 different makes and models of three-wheeled machines in the last few years. And as you can gather, you can fit all manner of shocks onto the front end of these leading link systems. And on our trike here, it looks like it's just a basic pair of dampers on our front end, because let's face it, you're never going to have much in the way of front suspension travel as you would enjoy maybe on a solo two-wheeler. So these shocks would be more than adequate to cope with anything that our Wasp front end would come across while it was doing battle on the racetrack. And also you can see here that the Wasp guys have kept the old school drum brakes on this outfit, and it's quite a sizable front stopper there, and unusual to see on a Scrambles outfit, because many of these Wasps were fitted with much more modern hydraulic disc brakes. But more than likely this particular outfit's been built for Mark Rampley's specific requirements. But having said that, this drum brake will still be able to slow up and maybe eventually stop our flying Wasp whenever it was required. But one of the other observations that I did make about this outfit was that the front and the rear wheels were both chromed steel rims and not lighter polished alloy wheels, as you might expect, just to try and keep the weight down a bit on the machine. But it all points to our 754 having an old school feel to it, with the vintage drum brakes and of course these late 1960s or early 1970s steel chromed wheels. So again, this rear hub that's fitted onto the back of our outfit is once more a bit of a mystery, because I certainly don't recognise this at all, because as I said, I was never really given any details on all of the parts that made up the bike, although as you can see it was a vintage drum system that was used as a rear stopper here on the back. So also at the back end of our Wasp RT8 chassis, it looks like an almost identical pair of dampers to the front shocks that were bolted onto that leading link front end. And much like the front, these Scrambles units never really had huge amounts of suspension movements or travel at the rear, and it was quite a tough, bumpy ride for both the rider and the passenger. So I don't suppose it would have made a massive difference which make or model of shocks that you bolted into place, because it was a very special kind of rider and his partner who took to the track to do battle on one of these quite formidable racing chariots. And the old school theme continues here on our Wasp outfit with these period correct alloy mudguards, but again more quality parts that have been fitted onto our RTW racer. And in a way, I think it'd be quite a shame to actually put this racer onto the track, because it's such a superb looking specimen. But the machine's owner, Mark Rampley, is certainly a very lucky person indeed to own this fantastic looking machine. Now, with a rig such as this, you need an extra long seat with very good amounts of padding, not only for the driver but for the outfit's passenger as well, who is mega important in keeping the machine all balanced. And if you're familiar with the way in which these racers operate, then you'll know that it's always a team effort between the driver and the passenger to keep the outfit quick and functioning as a race machine. And without the all-important passenger and driver shifting their body weight all over the seat to balance the rig, and if you don't have that control from both passenger and driver, then you may just as well be on board a three-wheeled supermarket shopping trolley. And so as we move on to the bike's fuel tank, which I'm assuming, going by the rest of the old school parts that are bolted onto our Wasp outfit, are all made from fiberglass, which of course was the traditional material of choice when it came to fuel tanks and things like side panels on these Wasp racers back in the day. But these parts were still very well made, and they did their job well for many years before, of course, the mass-produced plastics then came along and changed motocross bike bodywork for the years that followed. And as you can see, old school handlebars and all of the other associated grips, cables and levers that would have been fitted to these Wasp racers for that period, with of course one important addition there with this emergency engine cut-off plug and socket next to that throttle gasser, where of course the driver would hook the attached pull cord around his right wrist just in case he became detached from the machine, whereby he would then pull the plug out of its socket and then sever the electrical connection to the engine. But it still looks like all of the bike's controls certainly look period correct for the vintage theme of our Wasp racer, and it even has the traditional ball end levers that were a stock fitting on almost all off-road bikes of that 1960s and 1970s period. But as I said, the engineering on this chassis is just simply superb, especially when you consider that these chassis are all handmade to order for specific customers. But as I said, the one thing that I do regret about filming this particular outfit is that I just couldn't get to hear this CB750 Honda motor fire into life, because I expect that it would have been quite a delight for the ears to hear this four-cylinder Japanese engine come to life. But this was probably just another day at the office for those very skilled engineers at Wasp Motorcycles, who designed and built a chassis around this iconic Honda four-cylinder engine. Although if you ever get the chance to head along to one of these Sidecar outfit scrambles races, then do make a point of having a look around, because there's certainly nothing more exciting than watching 20 or so of these chariots all leaving the start line at the same time, because it's quite a spectacle listening to all of the different makes and models of engines that they shoehorn into these Wasp frames. But there's usually some kind of sidecar motocross event taking place in the south of England throughout the summer months, so certainly make a point of checking one of those races out. But anyhow, I know it's not normally the usual kind of bikes that we showcase here on Classic Dirt Bike TV, but it is vintage and it is motocross, so that's why we've taken the time and featured it. And besides, the minute that I saw this outfit, I was just amazed at the engineering and the quality of its workmanship. So that's one of the main reasons that we took the time to give it a look here on my channel. And so, just as a special treat, if you've not seen these machines in action on the track before, then here's some racing footage that I shot at the 2015 Classic MXDN event that was held at Bennett's Hill in that year. And this clip here will hopefully give you a little insight into what's actually involved in controlling one of these big outfits. So what we'll do in this little clip here is we'll try and identify a few of the machines and the riders, but almost 99% of the bikes that you're looking at here are all constructed by Rhind Tutt Wasp. So we're just going to pick up our race leader as they start lap 2. It's number 18, that's Paul Pelling and Colin Dunkley on the Wasp at 1000, and in second position it's Andy and Tim Breacher, and they're currently riding a Yamaha Wasp 840. Just going through, there's number 40, that's Richard Cole and Mickey Philp on their Westlake Wasp 950. But you can see what we were talking about in the video about the driver and the passenger moving their weight around the outfit to balance it as they go into the corners. And sometimes this is what happens if you get the balance all wrong going into the corner. The outfit tends to flip over. So it looks like we're going to have a complete restart for this race. So as soon as the bikes leave the start line, we're going to take a listen to all of these machines as they make their way around the racetrack.
That looked very, very close between the Felix and the Breacher's end. Ben Blind, Pete Thomas's outfit. Tail into that first corner, but they got through.
That looks like a retirement for number 117. That's Ben Blythe and Peter Thomas and their Yamaha Wasp at 600. But as I said, it's quite a spectacle seeing these machines leave the line and come round on lap 1, but it looks like it's still number 18, Paul Pelling and Colin Dunkley on that Wasp 1000, who currently lead the two Breacher brothers of Andy and Tim in second position.
Breacher's shoulders absolutely rubbing the ground down on that bottom right-hander.
So it's a good scrap here at the front between number 18 Paul Pelling and Colin Dunkley on their Wasp 1000, who currently lead the two Breacher brothers of Andy and Tim on their Yamaha Wasp 840. But quite a spectacle when you see these guys leaning right over on the passenger side of the outfit to balance it going into the corner. But it's a great spectacle to watch. So if you ever do get the chance to attend one of these sidecar meetings, then do make a point of going along, because it's a fantastic afternoon of racing. So at number 40 there, currently I think in third position, that's Richard Cole and Mickey Philp on their Westlake 950. Number 46 just behind is Chris Batt and Richard Brinston, and they're also on a Yamaha Wasp 600. So we're currently looking at number 9 there. That's Nick Knight and Glenn Restrick on their 920 Norton Wasp. Top class sidecar racing originated out of the southern centres and the woods, but then pull it back. So it's still number 18 in the lead here, Paul Pelling and Colin Dunkley on their Wasp 1000 outfit. Quite close behind, and still Andy and Tim Breacher on their Norton Wasp 840, working very hard there, as you can see, to try and make up ground on Paul Pelling and Colin Dunkley, but not easy to pass with these outfits, of course, if you have quite a narrow track, purely because of the width of the machine. But nevertheless, these guys are still battling it out here at the front. So we're back with a battle for third, fourth and fifth place. Number 40 there is still Richard Cole and Mickey Philp on their Westlake at 950. Number 46 is Chris Batt and Richard Brinson on their Wasp at 600. Number 27 is Steve Cook and George Woff, and they're also riding a Norton Wasp 850. We are back with number 9 once again. That's Nick Knight and Glenn Restrick on their Norton Wasp 920. So they certainly look like they're enjoying themselves. But here's your race leader. It's still Paul Pelling and Colin Dunkley on that very quick Wasp 1000. And both these guys working very hard here to stay at the front, but a quite physical and demanding sport, this sidecar racing, and unfortunately I don't think you would ever get me to be a passenger in one of these machines. So the best respects to these guys who do battle on these Norton Wasps. So it's still Andy and Tim Breacher in second place there on their Norton Wasp 840, but there's still that battle for third, fourth and fifth here between number 40 Richard Cole and Mickey Philp, and of course number 46 Chris Batt and Richard Brinson, and it's still at number 27 Steve Cook and George Woff, who are currently in fifth place. looks like that's number 27, Steve Cook and George Woff. I think they must have stalled their particular outfit going into that corner, but they're up and running once again. But here's your race leader, well out in front now. Doesn't seem to be any sign of the Breacher boys in second position. So it looks like Paul Perling and Colin Dunkley are well on their way to winning this sidecar race event here at Bennett's Hill. Now that number 417 outfit there is just about the only one that's not a Wasp. That's Andy Carter and Billy Carter Millis going through on their Norton EML. So that particular outfit there isn't in fact a Wasp machine, but it looks like our race leaders are starting their last and final lap. So it's still Paul Perling and Colin Dunkley well out in front there on their Norton Wasp 1000, and most of these outfits are being made around the 1980s period, so it was quite a busy time for Wasp at that time putting all these outfits together. But it looks like our number 50 pairing of Andy and Tim Breacher are up and running again, so it looks like they're still currently in second position, but we are back with the battle for third and fourth position. That's the number 40 outfit of Richard Cole and Mickey Philp on their Westlake 950, and they're still being pursued by number 46 Chris Batt and Richard Brinston on their Yamaha Wasp 600. But you can just see how physically demanding this sport is to keep these bikes on the track. The passenger has to move his weight all over the bike to balance it for each and every corner. And our number 10 outfit there just coming into shot, that's Jack and Tom Pattison on their Yamaha Wasp 840.
And where
But it certainly looks like it's going to be a win for these guys here. Number 18 of Paul Perling and Colin Dunkley, who have more or less led this race from the start. Second position, that's going to be the Breacher boys, who are going to finish in second position. But I do hope you've enjoyed this little video clip with regards looking at these Wasp outfits in action. As you can see, it is such a physical and exciting sport, but certainly fun to watch if you're looking for a day out. So this is some nice footage that I filmed at the classic Motocross the Nations that was held at Bennett's Hill in 2015. So certainly it's something completely different here on Classic Dirt Bike TV, so I hope you enjoyed taking a look at that lovely outfit at the beginning of the video, and of course this racing action from Bennett's Hill. But once again, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see here on my YouTube channel, then why don't you just consider subscribing. But until the next time, it's goodbye for now.